Hey, welcome to Digging into the Bible. My name is Jim Barnard. This is a production of Tiller Coaching. All right, it is day 29. So good to be with you. We are starting Romans chapter 12 today, and I said yesterday that we're kind of leaving that previous line of theology. Paul had exhausted that topic, and we are heading into some new bits of theology, which is great, and I think that's a good backdrop. With that, let's go ahead and dig in. This is Romans chapter 12, starting at verse 1. I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercy of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. For by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned. For as in one body we have many members, and the members do not all have the same function. So we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members of one another, having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. Let us use them. If prophecy, in proportion to our faith. If service, in our serving. The one who teaches, in his teaching. The one who exhorts in his exhortation. The one who contributes in generosity. The one who leads with zeal. The one who does acts of mercy with cheerfulness. All right, dang, this section is just thick. It's not that long, but it is full of just so much good stuff, and I'm not going to be able to get through it. It's the limitation of this shorter podcast, but let's just start with verse 2. It is such a good and powerful verse, one that I think you should maybe try to memorize and tell yourself. I think about this often, and let's see if I've got it right. Do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. That by testing, you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Did I nail it? I don't know. I got the subtitles down here. I think I got it. Especially that first part, do not conform to this world. It is really easy to do that. Our world almost demands it. Our society expects it. And, it's honestly pretty comfortable to do that. It's just easier. It's the path of least resistance to conform. But gosh, as much as I think that it's easy and probably all of us do it to some extent, I really, not trying to say, oh, I'm awesome here, but I try to minimize it as much as I can. It's really important for me to try to minimize that. It's like protecting my innocence, or it's, just not polluting my mind. It's important for me, but honestly, I also think of the next generation or the next several generations. It's important for me to model this for my son. Anderson looks to me and, he learns from me. He understands things through my viewpoint right now. And so I just think it's really important. It's a really big deal. The more successful we are at not conforming, the easier it is to discern the will of God. Now, is that too bold of a statement for you? I think it's absolutely accurate. I mean, the more we get lost into conforming the world and pleasing that, the harder it is to understand God's voice. And, quite simply, God does have a will. It's really important to me. I know we all question what the will of God is. And let's be honest, it would just be easier if he would come out and tell us in just plain English and just be forthright. All right, here's my will. Here you go. I'm giving it to you. Just go and do it. That would be awesome. If he said, oh, go do this job, or date this girl, or marry this guy, or choose this soda. Sometimes our decisions aren't easy sometimes. I stand in front of the 7-Eleven soda case for far too long sometimes. But one of the things God keeps mysterious, I think, is his will. His will is something that he reveals in bits and pieces, but his total will, no, he doesn't just hand it over to us. He keeps it mysterious. And I think it's part of the unseen things that we talked about yesterday in Romans 8:24, that callback to that section. I really think when we hope for what is unseen and we conform to not and we pursue to not conform to this world, the ways of this world, we are more free to be ourselves. who we are created to be. Does that make sense? When we hope for what is unseen and we pursue not conforming to the ways of the world, it's just easier for us. We can be ourselves. And God gifted us. Like the second part of this section talks about how we've all been gifted uniquely. For me, I always thought I needed to be like a big-time preacher or part of a huge church in order to be successful. And I just don't. Like, that's not accurate at all. I'm way more gifted for one-on-one discipleship. It's what I get to do at Tiller Coaching. It's awesome. And sometimes I do pretty decently at 5-ish minute podcasts. This suits me better. Like this is a place that God, has created for me. And if he's created it for me, I get to do it with zeal. I get to do it well. I get to put my effort into it. And I'm really so thankful for it. I don't have to conform, to any other expectations. I just get to be free to be me, and I get to be free to be with Jesus. And that's what's important for me. And so I hope that that's important for you. I don't know which ways you maybe have been tempted or have actually succumbed to conforming to the world, but I encourage you to check yourself before you wreck yourself. To think, well, what are those ways? What ways can I walk that back and be a non-conformist? All right? Like, that's what I think we need to be. Non-conformists, mount up. All right, that's all the time I got. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow as we continue on with Romans chapter 12. I'll see you then.